And even if you're just a troll that's here to watch me injure myself on the internet for fun, that's totally fine. Just thank you for being here. Good evening, Internet. My name is Mads. Welcome to my YouTube video / page. I have made about a dozen or so stick and poke tattoo vlogs thus far, documenting the process of making my left leg far more interesting than it previously was. This is gonna be tattoo number... oh, I gotta count. That's a nice feeling when you actually don't know how many tattoos you have. This is tattoo number 8, I think? Let me check. 8. I had to count like a dork. Anyways, so putting the stencil on for this guy, I had tried several times in the past, sitting down, and it just gets twisted, and you can't do that. If you have friends to help you, that's the ideal way to get a stencil down, but if you don't, you get to look like a dork and pretzel yourself weird. And this is how I double check that my placement was straight, was just using the selfie mode on my camera. I am trying out a new ink this time around, a dynamic ink, and I'm using an 8 round liner bug pin. Pretty happy with 8 and 9 round liners. Not sure if I'm going to stick with bug pins. Here's my little setup. Everything being set up with gloves on. Everything's clean, wipe everything down, and then we commence with the poking. In the past, as you can see from my leg, I have decided to go with rather large designs. This one is really closer to what you should be aiming for, really nothing bigger than a dollar coin size. I got this outline down in about 2.5 hours. If I was doing this on another person, I probably would have given it 3.5 hours, but my hip got mad at me, and I had to get up and stretch a lot. I even took about a half an hour break halfway through. Breaks kind of suck, because as you know, if you've ever gotten a tattoo before, like coming back into a tattoo, it's very painful. It's one of the most difficult parts, but this is the first pass, so you can pause here and see what it looks like for me using that 8 round liner dynamic ink one pass. A lot of the red that looks irritated is actually because I'm using that red stencil. It didn't stay much better than the purple, but it is easier to see through black ink, so red stencils are kind of cool in that regard. I also did something different with my camera angles, so you get the fuzzy shoulder a lot in this video. You're welcome. I am a professional. Okay. I got a really cool comment from somebody who just kind of mentioned that if they feel like their needles aren't working great, they just grab another one, which makes sense because needles are less than $1, so just why not go through? I went through 3 needles this time. I made a really terrible grip. I tried to hold the needle without the grip, and it sucked, and I don't know how you people do that. I'm very spoiled with my little 3D printed grip that I have. But yes, in the past I tried to stretch one needle. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's because it's hot and dry, and I mean, I'm trying to clean my needle every 3 to 5 passes. I feel like maybe ink is drying up inside, maybe the needle's just getting dull pretty quickly, but I was a lot happier this time getting myself some fresh needles a few times throughout the process, so I think that's something I'm gonna incorporate into this process going forward, is using multiple of the same needles. They are not that precious. And, you know, I'm not a professional, so nobody's expecting this to be an excellent tattoo. Nonetheless, I'd like to say in my defense, these lines, my camera was all over the place. Excellent. How artistic. Anyway. My lines aren't great. because as you may have noticed, this is on the back of my fucking leg. I had originally designed this quite a bit larger because I like larger designs, and the entire reason I shrunk it down is because I was worried about being able to reach past the center point of the back of my leg, and I was correct. It's not even that I can't reach it, it's that like my other leg gets in the way of trying to get my arm in place. In order to make a solid poke, your elbow needs to be supported. You really need to have a comfortable arm placement as the tattooist in order to competently and efficiently put down pokes as you're going. So this is as far back as I'm going to be able to reach. I might do a little bit more lower on my foot, but I don't want to exceed that center line down the back of my leg in the future, because this was sucky, and I can tell in my line quality that that's where it came out. And that's life. I'm doing what some might call an ignorant style sleeve. And if anybody talks smack, I can just say I did it myself, so fuck it. Anyways, listen to this. Got some fuzzy entropy in there, and you got some crickets, but you also had some tiny pops. I fairly successfully recorded many pop sounds this time around, but I also recorded my stomach gurgling because I was thinking about how I'm gonna make waffles tomorrow. Yup, so it's another of those late night pokes here. You saw me be a little bit indecisive. I got a bit off track when it came to my stencil. I made some decisions last minute. I was even thinking before I started that I didn't love the way the fire was shaped, and my subconscious brain made a decision, and even though I already did a pass of how the stencil previously was, I changed my mind halfway through the tattoo, so that's not great. Don't do that. Follow your stencil, not your previous pokes. And also decided to fill in this background with this black. It ideally should have been totally solid. I did do a few more passes of this after I stopped recording. You'll see how it looks after I get some sleeps, and then I wake up and do my usual thing where I record my next day video out in the sunlight. You can see what it looks like. But went in and filled in some of that background. I plan on making a gray wash to give those little shelves on the bottom some dimension, and giving a little bit of what could be implied as blue to the bottom of that flame, and the sort of halo light around it is also going to get some shading. So we'll get more dimension in this. So far this is just the line and filling in that background a little bit. It's really good to be confident in your design before you put it down on your skin, but at the same time, if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen I've already redrawn this design dozens of times, and this one's not even original concept. This is sort of an overdone tattoo design, but I don't care. It's a fire inside tattoo. Haha. Hey, just because I did some FaceTime earlier in the video, I decided I wanted to do some FaceTime for this bit. This tattoo is my AFI tattoo, which is still a band, and I'm no longer a fan of them. Nothing personal. They went one direction and I went this direction, and so this tattoo is an AFI tattoo, but it is not dedicated to Davey Havoc and Jade and Adam and Hunter of AFI. Instead, I thank those folks, but instead this tattoo is dedicated to my friends Vivi, Rue, and if anybody else is still out there, Jaden, and everybody else who was in the Church of Havoc back in the early 2000s. You are the real reason that AFI meant so much to me, is because that was my first ever community that I felt like I was a part of, and I was able to talk to some people about tattoos and depression and being spooky and not liking where you live and being a teenager. And so that's what this tattoo is actually about, is my first ever little internet community. So Vivi, I'm gonna dedicate this to you. I did it. I'm 15 years late, but I did my AFI tattoo. Love you guys. Good next morning. I have had my coffee, and I am holding my pop screen for my mic like a giant lollipop. How are you today? Normally for these outside shots, I like to have some ambient noise of the birds and the pleasantness of outside, and my neighbor is building the ark. So you get to listen to me talk. I just used a Band-Aid this time, which is very nice. That clear skin is kind of overrated. It looks cool for a portfolio or something, but it's nice doing small tattoos that you can just slap a Band-Aid on there. Works a lot better. And I cannot believe I reached the back of my leg. I'm gonna pat myself on the back for being completely insane and actually tattooing the back of my leg. Also, props self once again for shrinking down the design. Very smart. Oh boy. So we're gonna let this guy heal. Once again, this is my AFI tattoo. Thank you for listening to my little explanation about what this guy is all about. It's my second music tattoo. I've got a Flogging Molly tattoo, now my AFI tattoo. I have plans for an In Flames tattoo. A bunch of other ones. Music is good. Music makes life worth living, as Andrew WK says. And so that's a big direction the sleeve's gonna go. Anyways, so here we are, about 2.5 hours worth of pokes. And I am pretty pleased with it, actually. As we were going, it looked rough, and my lines weren't going as smoothly and straight as I would have liked. But it worked out. Here is the leg sleeve in progress. I really need to go in and fill in those things on the side of my legs. That would look much better. But we're chugging along. We got 8 tattoos done, and I'd like to put a few more down pretty quickly. And like I said, finish up those other couple ones. So thank you so much for checking out this video. I really appreciate you. And please have a wonderful rest of your day. If you're gonna be poking, please be safe. And if not, you do you. You know what's best for you. Sinister. I don't like how I look with lipstick on. Thought I would be like celebratory and put on some lipstick, and I hate it. Vroom, 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 vroom. I don't actually have to make the lightsaber noises because I guess the texture on this makes noise for me. Sounds like somebody wolf whistling at me. That's hilarious. Thanks for watching anyway.